Good day, and welcome to another thought-provoking episode of Filmatic. Today, we are joined by a filmmaker whose journey as a storyteller began in early life. She's a dynamic filmmaker, and her name is Athi Petela.
As a female director, you always have to fight. And every day is a day where you need to be unapologetically claiming your spot.
What do you think a director needs in their corner?
First of all, you just need a vision and you need to be decisive. Because as soon as people feel like they're lost, then it's a little bit, shaky for everybody. Everybody there's a business. So they need to feel led and they need to trust the voice that's leading them.
Best known for her acclaimed short film Trapped, Athi's creative journey began with internship films like NQUMSHE and The Whale Caller, where her passion for storytelling took root. Her talent led her to Black Brain, where she worked on a hit series like Lockdown, Side Dish, and Loving Thokoza.
I bumped into Manda N at SABC, and then I said to him, I was like, yo, you need me, I think I'm really great. Started out helping him out with stuff, and then eventually I was in the writing rooms.
Please join me in welcoming my next guest, who is proving that storytellers do change the world, Athi Petela.
Yay! Hello.
Let's get into it. Let's get this party started.
Awesome.
I'm an African. Are you African? I'm an African. Everybody's an African. Feels good, right? Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. I'm from the continent of refugees and rebels, where minds are richer than all rubies and marbles. Life at its best, view it from all angles. No longer do we wear shackles, but life's bangles. AIDS increases, the poverty's in levels, where flowers blossom every day in hard grovel. Traditional acts just brings out the marvel in every African's heart filled with sorrow. Wait for tomorrow, but the road remains narrow. African minds sharp like bow and arrow. We're aiming for higher places, man, I tell you. Communication through rhythms until I see you.
Good day, and welcome to another thought-provoking episode of Filmatic. Today, we are joined by a filmmaker whose journey as a storyteller began in early life, sparked by her mother's encouragement to write down every moment, a practice that nurtured her passion for storytelling. Now, she's a dynamic filmmaker, and her name is Athi Petela. Best known for her acclaimed short film Trapped, Athi's creative journey began with internship films like NQUMSHE and The Whale Caller, where her passion for storytelling took root. Her talent led her to Black Brain, where she worked on a hit series like Lockdown, Side Dish, and Loving Thokoza. She is currently one of 3 directors working on BET's much-anticipated drama, Queendom. Now, please join me in welcoming my next guest, who is proving that storytellers do change the world. Athi Petela.
Yay! Hello.
How are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Super rocking. Super rocking. You ready?
Yeah, I think I am.
Let's get into it. Let's get this party started.
Awesome.
Athi.
What's up?
So lovely to meet you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, most of the guests I've interviewed, I know from somewhere in the past. I think you're one of my first guests that I actually don't know from before. So this has got me super excited.
And nervous, like I am.
Is it?
Both excited and nervous.
Let's get into it.
Cool.
You do directing.
Yes, I do.
Of all these disciplines that are available now, you've got directing, producing, production design, whatever, art direction. Why did you choose that specifically?
I actually started out as a writer.
Okay.
And then I remember, I think somebody directed something I wrote and the interpretation wasn't what I initially wanted. So I was like, actually, I think I can do this by myself. And then I went and I did it by myself because I just think stories that specific, you can't like leave it to chance, right? When you've got like a task to carry out, to make sure that it kind of goes out the way it's supposed to. So I guess my obsession of like, I need to get it done and I need to get it done exactly the way I wanted to get it done. That's why I then directed my own stuff. So I'm a writer-director.
I see.
Yeah.
Are you, do you prefer the stuff you've written, or can you do, or do you even like doing something that's been written for you? Like, here's the script, go and do it.
I think both for different reasons, right? Like, I know if I I trust the process that much to believe that if I write something and I direct it, then it's supposed to be that way. So I just fully give myself to the process. And if I'm given something that somebody's written, I also believe that that's what's supposed to happen. So I give myself fully to the process. And if something I've written and it's supposed to be directed by me and I've given it to somebody else, it's going to do what it's supposed to do. I just believe in story being that specific to choose and become what it needs to become, regardless of what, I guess, my aspirations for it are contrary to my reason why I got into directing. But yeah.
I hear. What kind of stories are you drawn to? What is the thing that really touches your heart and takes you away?
I think people's stories, like people's stories, anything that like drives people to do something, makes people feel a certain way. People's stories. I think we're all here to kind of understand one another. I might not agree, but I'm here to understand you. And I think just understanding that as the basis of my whole entire existence draws me to telling stories that are more people-oriented and I guess emotion-oriented. Yeah.
It's lovely, man. Now, there's a standard definition of what maybe a director is, Google, Wikipedia, whatever. What is your personal definition of what a director is?
I'd say a director is a person who's able to put themselves in the emotions of another, or multiple people rather, and tell a story without judgment, tell a story with a lot of honesty, tell a story with a lot of empathy. And maybe that's just my style, but I just believe that, like, regardless of what the character has gone through, whether you're a rapist, I just need to have empathy so I can be able to package that in a way that somebody else who's been there maybe finds redemption or finds themselves or realize they need to change, or I just think I'm supposed to be the mirror.
Is it? So whether it's a good guy,
or a bad guy, I just need to carry the mirror and point it at every single person so they can decide if that defines them or not, to whatever extent. So
how do you step into those emotions of trying to find out how that character is? Like, how do you dive deep into that and be like and bring out that character?
Somebody once, funny, they said this about acting, but I think it rings kind of true to directing as well, that storytelling is about borrowed experience. It's about something you've read. It's about a friend of yours who's gone through something and lived experience. So I think sometimes I might not have lived an experience, but I've maybe read about something in the news and I felt some type of way about it. And I think to go deeper, if it has something to do with the next person, that is not necessarily the character. If it's the mom, I'm like, if I were a mom and my child was a rapist, how would that make me feel? I think it's just, again, moving with a lot of like empathy, just generally in life, I think. Yeah. Not just like as a storyteller, but just generally in life, just moving with an understanding that there's something to see in each and every person. And so I think I just try to bring that across because that's just my whole entire sentiment about life. And I think I try not to forget to bring myself in a story in that regard.
Absolutely incredible. I read about your short film, Trapped.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that. How did that come about? Writing it, directing it, shooting it? How did that come about?
So it was actually a feature before.
Okay.
So it was an ode to my dad who passed away. It was titled All the Things I Couldn't Tell You. So it was like little bits of the things that I couldn't have a conversation with my black dad about. Yeah. And then because then I applied for a slate with NFBF, and then I had to kind of minimize it.
Okay.
And then I thought, what would I like to say, or rather what has been the thing that has interested me the most? And I think for me, it's acceptance looking like an idea of the outside in as opposed to inside out, right? And I guess what that means is, so the character on Trapped, she's a lesbian girl who thinks that the world is against her, so she needs to hide. Meanwhile, the problem is her. She's failing to accept herself and live her truth. And so she uses that as like a tool to kind of hide and not, take accountability and responsibility for her own life, in turn hurting people around her because she thinks the world is a thing that you need to take from outside in as opposed to inside out. So that's how.
Wow. What challenges did you face just trying to bring this to the screen?
I mean, the challenges are firstly to the story because, again, like I said, I've got a Black Xhosa dad.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of conversations I would have liked to have with my dad. And I would have liked to get what his opinion is on like certain things. Sometimes things that have to do with me, sometimes not so much.
Okay.
Sometimes things that are super important and sometimes not so much. But I think he passed away before we could get to that phase. So by virtue of the film having been that, it was really hard for me to choose what's more important because I felt like every single thing was important. So it was a little bit hard. But then I was just like looking at the world and looking at the climate and like what's happening and what conversations are happening. I would have liked to sit on the couch with my dad and have this conversation. So that was hard. And then the challenges was also applying. So it's weird. Another thing with story, I think when story is ready to be told, it happens, and it has nothing to do with me. It just has a lot to do with story, and I just happen to be the passage in which the story needs to come out, right? So it wasn't really difficult to apply for funding from the NFVF because I also believed that the story needs to happen the manner in which it needs to. It's weird because when I was writing and I was trying to minimize everything and pick the important parts of the story, that part rang the loudest. And I was like, okay, cool. Then that's what we're doing.
Incredible.
You know, so I don't know if, besides the story itself challenging, I don't think if any other thing was a challenge. It is what it was supposed to be.
You look so excited when you speak about it.
Yeah, because it just makes me. I think it just made me. It taught me a lot of things about story.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot of things about myself.
Okay.
It taught me a lot of things about being a director, a writer. That again, none of this has anything to do with me, you know. And I think I've kind of enjoyed getting to know the different versions of what that means as I move along, accepting some things, losing in other parts, and being okay with it. Because again, the story needs to be told. I just happened to be there at the time. It has nothing to do with me. So it's been really exciting learning that and remembering along the way.
Spike Lee says when he did his first film, he didn't feel he was a director yet. He feels like, I'm not even sure that it's number how manyth film, but when he did Do the Right Thing, he says, now I've got it. When did you get that moment?
I don't think I have it yet.
You're still on that journey, still discovering.
I still am. I'm currently writing something that I feel might give me that feeling because it's been a story that's been alive since I was born. And I think being able to be here now where I know what the story looks like on paper has been exciting after like so many years. For the first time I was able to write it and it's been in my head and it's been, you know, I've known that the story is the story that needs to happen, but I just haven't known how to write it.
Oh, is it?
So when I could write it, I was like, yes.
Oh, is it?
So maybe that, or maybe I'm lying, I don't know. Maybe that could be the thing that kind of allows me to say now I'm a director.
I was speaking to Lindo Langa, and he tells me that you guys exchanged scripts.
That's the script we exchanged.
That's the script,
Yes.
Has he given you feedback?
Yes and no. Yes, in a sense that we kind of spoke about it when we were doing the exchange. We made it like a whole thing. It was so cute. We had lunch and we spoke and we were, you know.
Directors directing.
Yeah, right. We're doing what we do. And then we exchanged. He gave me his script and he's been writing it for a very long time. Super excited for him. It's a feature film. Are
you guys allowed to change or make notes to what you'd like, don't like about the script?
I don't think necessarily what we don't like, but maybe suggestions.
I get you.
Offer.
I get you.
Yeah, we'd offer something to say. Because obviously if you've lived with the story for so long, there's some parts you won't get to touch because you think other things are more important than the others. But, you know, in terms of how the audience sees it, because you also are making something for the audience, right?
When you're writing a story, how much of yourself are you putting in there, and how much are you saying, "Nah, let me step back with this"?
Because of the fact that I do like bringing all of me into a project, I think I do kind of feel sometimes to step back and be like, I'm not gonna put myself in the story. It's just about the characters. It is a little bit hard to do that. Like, I mean, from tone to the way the characters move and the things they do is because that's how I envision life to be as a cop, for example. And that's how I envision life to be as a 5-year-old. So it is a little bit hard to say the story is completely void of me because I've stood back. I don't think, well, for me, I don't think it's been possible.
I see.
Yeah.
What's your process of writing a script and developing a story?
So there's two types of writing for me. There's writing my own stories.
Okay.
And then there's writing for TV, a concept that belongs to somebody.
Okay.
That one, the process is obviously getting into a room with a couple of writers, and then we just go through the story, build storyline A, B, and C if it's a long format show. We outline our characters in A, layer them. Who are they? What do they like? What do they not like? And I think that kind of guides us into the other stories. Mm-hmm. So if, for example, we're saying Q is a guy who went to Harvard, he then came back to Johannesburg, he works in Sandton. Every other thing is guided by who you are at the core. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a process for like a long format. But for me as a person, like personally, it's been quite a personal experience of mine. So I guess the development, and that's how I don't like writing for the sake of just having something exist. It has to be because it touched me that much. It has to be because I experienced something enough to feel like it sparked up that thing in me where I said I wanted to write something. And that takes a lot of time as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So was this always your path, that I'm going to be a filmmaker? Was this always your thought that I'm going to go down this road?
Not really. Not really, in a sense that, like, for the longest time, I knew that I wanted to be in the arts, and I thought I wanted to write books.
Okay.
And then I didn't know. But the thing I'd always known is that I'm here to make a difference. I've never questioned that. Like, since I was a kid, I've always known, and I've always said to my mom, like, I really want to make a difference, and I don't know what that looks like or what it feels like, but I know that that's what I'm here to do. So I guess when I found storytelling, it made a lot of sense. Like, when you've been turning a wheel for a very long time, and then you go, and then it opens. Yes. It felt like that.
Incredible.
So I think, yeah.
Did you go to film school?
I did. I went to Big Fish.
Big Fish, yes. They were down the road from us. Which one? Johannesburg, Cape Town. Cape Town.
Yes.
How was that?
It was nice. It was interesting. It was nice. I had fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
1 year, 2 years?
2. And then I went back again the last for technical stuff, which I sucked at. I was the worst.
Now then, you've graduated Big Fish. You are now a small fish in a very big world.
Yeah.
What happens? What's the next step you take after that?
Then I work at Expresso and Top Billing as a content creator and insert director. So I did that. But I've always known, like, I'm a storyteller.
Okay.
And then they had offices in Johannesburg. Okay. And then I came back to Johannesburg to kind of work in their offices here. And then I bumped into Mandla N at SABC. And then I said to him, I was like, yo, you need me. I think I'm really great. And then he was just like, what the hell? So then he was about to go in, and I said, Tristan, do you need me? You know that, right? Yeah. And then he was like, I'll take my number. You know when people are trying to get people off their backs, so he was like, I'll take my number. And then I took his number. He's like, call me. I called him every single day, and I was like, you need me. You really need me. I'm so great. And then eventually he called me. He's like, okay, just come through. And then I went to his office, and that's how I started in the industry. Started out helping him out with stuff. And then eventually I was in the writing rooms, because I also understood that in as much as I was at Expresso, I had to sacrifice what I thought I knew and my growth there to kind of become what I know I should become. So that was a bit hard, I think, to adjust to mentally. But I also had to listen to that little, I think Shanda calls it the hum.
Yes,
So I had to listen to the hum. And I literally started from scratch when I left Expresso.
Get out. And from scratch doing what?
From scratch doing Lord knows what with Mandla. I didn't even know what I was doing. I promise. Like, I was just his shadow for the longest time. And then after some time, then I could define it. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm in the writing room. Maybe I'm a writer. And then I started writing stuff. And then I was like, oh. And then I started doing pitch documents. And I was like, oh, I'm good at doing this. Like, and then it built up. And because it's such a small company, I think it kind of helped me do everything. So I kind of know, like, a lot of things from doing pitches, from commercials, doing pitch decks. Obviously, then I grew with time, but yeah.
So which project was it at Black Brain, which was like, okay, cool. She's arrived, actually?
None.
None?
None. You know, I actually quit my job without knowing where I was going, what I was going to do.
Okay.
I just felt like it was time. And that's the time when I was writing that feature film that I'm telling you about, that named The Things I Could Have Told You.
Okay.
And then I left and I was like, I need to get this done. And and I think also because Manda's a director, there obviously was very little he could give me, because also we're pressed for time. Whatever we're doing is like very time sensitive.
Yeah.
We need to make the days, so he didn't have time to like groom me and like hold my hand into let's do this, let's do that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go do it by myself. And then I left and then I applied for NFVF funding. That took some time, but I was just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I knew it without a doubt in my heart that this is what I'm supposed to do. And then I got it and then I did it and then I made a pact with God, which is so weird. Every time I tell people this, people are just like, what the hell? And I said, if you've called me to come to this thing, you will not let me suffer. Because then if I do, then you're the problem and not me.
Wow.
And then that's that.
But haven't you suffered as a...
Suffer in a sense that maybe not so much as suffer.
Yeah.
I've made ends meet. I haven't had a time where I was just like, what's happening? What am I going to do? And every time that starts happening, I'm like, yo, God, but remember and I feel like God's like, yo, I got you, almost forgot, So yeah.
If you can't get the shot on set, you can get it at MADSHO Library. We have the best in stock footage and archive. Just go to www.madsholibrary.com. I found something with creatives, that some creatives make sure that they're making something for the audience. Some guys make it for themselves. And they're like, whether the audience likes it or not, that's up to them. What's your approach with it?
Sure. I guess I'm still trying to figure that out. Because I am very passionate about people.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about how people see themselves. I'm very passionate about how people accept themselves and reject themselves and the reasons in which they do that. So for me, yes, I make it for myself in a sense that it is something that touches my heart enough for me to want to make a difference. But I don't know if I can say it's entirely for me. I guess it's for all of us. It's for my heart and the people's heart. So I would struggle to say I make things just for myself. Maybe I'm yet to figure it out. I was talking to Lindo about that actually the other day, and he was like, the things you should worry about, or rather the work you should worry about, is the work that only you can make. Like if you don't make it, it will never exist. And I think because I'm so passionate about people, I've got a lot of those stories where I'm like, I wonder if I didn't tell the story for myself and the people, if it would be made. And I think, like I said, the film that I'm really excited about, I feel like it's one of those that I am also hoping would be like a comfortable landing for someone.
That's incredible. You've also made PSAs, from what my research has said.
Yeah.
Just addressing things like gender-based violence, human trafficking. Why would you even choose such heavy subjects?
Actually, the human trafficking one makes me so emotional. So I think it was during COVID.
Yeah.
And when I was doing research, I kind of found out that like there isn't information available for deaf people.
Okay.
So you're like deaf and blind, and there's this big thing happening in the country that could potentially kill you and your family, but the information isn't accessible to you as a person who's a disabled body, right? I mean, that's insane. How do we live in a world where we're all here, but information is so limited or is just completely inaccessible for people? Like, for example, I remember... Sorry, I'm getting really emotional.
No, let's go. No, I understand.
In one of the stories,
it makes me emotional,
this lady said, so this guy said he found out he had HIV. He was HIV positive at a hospital, and he's deaf, so he can't hear. So somebody said to him, you're HIV, so he didn't get counseling like the rest of the people do. Somebody said to him, you're HIV positive. And in any culture, something positive is something good, right?
Yes.
And so he walked away going, okay, well, I'm HIV positive, until somebody said to him, no, you're gonna die. You're HIV positive, this is what it means. Obviously, the information is delivered to him not in the right way.
Yes.
That broke my heart so much, because I was like, this is information that is so accessible to even a 5-year-old who's an able body, but how are you as a grown-up not
knowledgeable of this,
included
yes.
in this thing, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that's when I started realizing that for us, our politics is black and white, but for other people, it's silence and sound. Like, it's so insane to understand that what you think you know of the world is only 0.2% of what other people go through out there. And it kind of made me feel a little bit selfish to think that I live in a world with these things and I didn't go out of my way to make sure that I understand that this exists as a person who's saying I'm for the people. You know, so I guess the PSAs came from that. They were with the United Nations.
Okay.
And basically to address that. So we did like with Andy Soekebashe, a friend of mine. She's a sign language interpreter for the president.
She's also a friend of mine. Shout out Andy.
Love her. So we did that. That was dope. But I mean, the work barely scratches the surface here. Like if I'm a filmmaker and I'm saying I'm making movies for the people and I don't have a movie where a blind person can watch without reading subtitles and feel completely included, I haven't done the work. And I guess I'm still trying to figure out how to do that.
So there's 3 directors. Make us understand what you mean by your block.
So there's 3 directors. Obviously, we've got our boss, who's the head director, Andres. What's up?
Andres, what's up?
He obviously will set up the show and we'll make sure that we have a look and we follow like a generic, style of shooting. Okay. And then there used to be Manga.
Okay.
He was our other director, and then there was me. So we kind of divide the show into blocks. So each block I think has about 5 to 6 episodes. So that becomes your block, and that's what you direct. So if I'm directing episode 91 to 95, everything to do with that episode is my responsibility. And I guess trying to marry it with make it uniform with the rest of the story.
So what's the most daring creative decision you have ever taken on a film?
I don't know if it was in a film. I think it's with my career. Generally, first, like I said, was leaving my job without knowing what the hell I'm going to do. And then I also think that it's a bit difficult because it's a thing that happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
I feel like as a female director, you always have to fight.
Yeah.
So every day is daring. The minute you wake up and you go on a set, it means that you're going to come across males who think that I've been here for a long time, I should be the director. But I've earned my stripes too, and I equally deserve to be here. So every day is a daring day, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
In my experience, I don't know if other female directors have experienced any different. And every day is a day where you need to be unapologetically claiming your spot.
I hear.
Which is a bit difficult because how do you draw the line between being harsh and claiming your spot? It's a little bit of a tricky one. But I think in that aspect, every day is daring.
At MADSHO, we believe that storytellers change the world, and we would like to give you the right tools to accomplish this mission. For all your gear rental needs, go to www.madsho.co.za or send us an email at rentals@madsho.co.za. I'd like to say that you're not a female director, you're a director who's facing challenges as a female on set. Now, for other young females on set, how would you advise them to go about handling themselves when we've got men saying men things there on set?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, as you've already said, you're not a female director, you're a director. Because your work somebody's not watching your work and going, oh, a female did this, and somebody's not watching your work and going, a male did this. It's work, right? And I think it is important to be firm about that, even in the way you say it, because it's such a weird thing to have realized that the more firmer you are, is the more some males think you're hard to work with. Because you're like, no, I'm not going to do this. So, excuse me, this is not how it's going to work. I said I need this for a reason, and it needs to happen. It needs to happen now. Like I said, it's very tricky because in the middle of all of that, you still need to be able to define yourself, right? In the midst of all the being firm, because you could easily be firm and rude at the same time without realizing it, or you could be firm and harsh at the same time without realizing it. And the thing about being harsh is that you could kick somebody out of the game without even knowing. Somebody could be non-inspired because you said something that kind of completely threw them off. So I think, yeah, just never lose yourself in the midst of, keep the main thing, and that's a no. No, I'm not going to do this. I said I need this and it needs to happen right now.
True.
So, yeah.
What's the most memorable set? Not the best, like the most memorable set that comes to mind that you've been on?
The set of Trapped.
Is it?
Yes. I had Bangankomo as a director. Amazing human being.
Bongo.
Yeah.
That's my homie.
He's such an amazing human. Like, just like, you know, in the heart is an amazing human and you can feel it. And I think that kind of like was the general energy on set.
Yeah.
It was very gentle for everybody, but we got the work done. You know, like I loved working with Bonga. I'd do it any day. And then it was, I think, Redemption.
Nice.
Because I had OGs. And it's tricky working with OGs when you're a youngin. I always say I just arrived, guys. Like, I'm a youngin. I just got here. But they are very respectful, respect your opinion, understand that you're here to do the work that would have been done by any other person who isn't your age. There's a lot of respect, and I think it also taught me a lot. Like, because you're an intern doesn't mean I need to disrespect you. True. You're a human. Do you get what I'm saying? True. Like, I need to see you. And I think I've enjoyed working with the OGs on I had enjoyed working with the OGs on Redemption, because it just taught me that just see people.
When you say OGs, you mean the crew and cast or both?
Both, actually, crew and cast. I remember for lighting, I had Lethabo. We call him Brastibo. So Brastibo was like my homie. Like during lunch, he knows I'm there. I'm like, Brastibo. And then he used to work on Gwakala Nyonini. Like he's an OG, proper. And then I had Braileni as well. He's an old man. Do you know Braileni? Yes. Braileni, Grips.
Coolest dude ever.
You know, he's like, when I tell you that those guys were my lunch guys, when I'm not there, we wait for each other and they'll dish up on me. They're like, yo, Kana, where are you? I'm like, you know?
Yeah.
I loved it. And I think with the cast as well, I mean, I had Tina Chakwa.
Whoa.
OG for days. Tina never questioned my direction. We'd always debate story, obviously, as we do. And I love debating story, because the whole point of us being on the set is to get great product. So if we're gonna debate story, let's go, you know? Done so respectfully. I had Batemba Ndaba.
Heavyweight. Legend.
And then my creative producer, who I love and respect so much, is Reti from Burnt Onion.
Respect to Reti.
And you know Reti is a story head, and you know she will fight for stories. So I was surrounded by greatness, and I think it taught me a lot in terms of like just how to hold my space and hold my own in a space with OGs, but without feeling like I'm trying to prove myself and without them going, you're nothing, you know. So it was really good, yeah. Now
that first scene with like a Themba Ndaba, what's happening? What are your nerves even doing on that particular day?
Do you know what's funny? I think I'm nervous during like a script read. Yeah. Because when we get to set, like I just forget. I'm like, oh, well, I'm here to do what I gotta do. Cool. So I kind of like, it's weird. Like I just forget. And then it only registers when I get home and I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But anyway, work needs to go on. But during the prep days, obviously that I'm a little bit nervous. And I think it also helps that Batemba is who he is. And I think all the OGs that I worked with are who they are, because they never reminded me of the things I forgot, which is I'm working with OGs. So there was never a time where I had to like, you know.
What do you think a director needs in their corner to be a successful director?
Definitely a strong AD.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, you just need a vision and you need to be decisive.
Okay.
You need to know what you want so that you're leading people with decisiveness. Because as soon as people feel like they're lost, then it's a little bit, you know, shaky for everybody, because then it makes them look sloppy in their job because they're not sure. But if you're decisive, they are decisive for you and with you. You know, so I think that's important. Also to just have a firm voice, you know, that because the more people feel like they can trust you, because if you think about it, everybody there's a business. Yeah. So I can't say they're working for me. We're collaborating into like making something. Head of makeup is a business. Art department is a business. So they need to feel led and they need to trust the voice that's leading them. So that's firstly. And then a strong AD like that wants to collaborate, you know. Strong DOP. Yeah. Actually, everything needs to be great, man. I don't know if I can choose because everybody just needs to hold their own, but also just have a decisive voice and be sure about what you want, be sure about your vision so that people feel led and feel safe. Because it's another thing. As soon as you start feeling shaky, people don't feel safe. Like I said, because you're a business, like your makeup is a business. And if you leave the job and your makeup looks bad, people are just like, oh, I didn't feel led by the director.
That's true.
Which is a problem.
How do you choose your art director and your DOP? When you're going to choose them, what is it that you're looking for?
I've never had to experience that.
Okay.
Where I get to choose. If I would, I'd be so happy. I already know who I'd have. Like, oh, I already know. I'm already like,
I see.
you know. But I think people who are excited about the job, man.
Yeah.
You know, people who are passionate about the work, obviously.
Yeah.
People who might have their own vision, because sometimes it's nice to have somebody go, I know you want this.
Yeah.
Can we negotiate maybe if I give you this? And I'm like, why? And they're like, because this. And I'm like, I see where you're going. That's very nice.
I hear.
It feels like everybody, and they should feel like this is all our product.
Absolutely.
Like we're all pouring water into this cup.
Absolutely.
And we all care about this water inside this cup. It needs to be clean, because we all are going to drink from it.
Absolutely.
You know? So I love that, yeah.
Man, absolutely beautiful. Let's talk IP, intellectual property. Your thoughts, feelings, what about it?
Look, I do think my thoughts are not going to go deeper than my opinions that I'm going to give.
Give us your
because
opinion. I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah,
you said
I
you're
think
very opinionated.
they are a little
I want
bit,
to hear it.
Look, I also like being opinionated in things that I've completely researched and comfortably, I can say with my chest. Intellectual property, firstly, is important.
Yes.
And I think it is important because if you, as a creator, have created something and say the channel sells it to another company, that money has nothing to do with you, but it's your idea, right? So I think it is important to structure like some form of a deal. Like how do creatives not starve as much as they are and yet have their content consistently and repeatedly watched on television, right? Because I think the biggest thing is, I think art is like, especially storytelling, is a thing that keeps human beings alive.
True.
And it keeps us connected, you know. And I think it's very important work, and there's no reason why we should spend a second of our time trying to think about how to make ends meet as opposed to how to change the world a little bit more. You know, so I do think that hopefully one day we'll get to a point where we can have the conversation and nobody's angry. Instead, we're all coming into the conversation with the thought of how do we make it work for everyone, the broadcaster and the creative.
So where to from now? What do you see yourself just moving forward? What's in the pipelines for Athi Petela?
I mean, I think Ava's going to call me up and she's going to say, come, let's collaborate.
That's
I'm
true.
kidding.
That's true.
So
No, you're not kidding. That's true. That is
yeah,
going to
she better
happen.
call me. Like, she needs me. I'm really cool.
She's going to call you.
She better. And she needs me
Yes.
not because she's not a full human or a full creative by herself, but I think together we'd create something really nice.
Really? That's the dream collab, eh?
That's the dream collab, yeah. And I think she really inspires me in the types of stories she tells. She's very brave.
I still can't finish.
How they see us.
I can't finish
Yeah,
that. Yes,
it's crazy.
It makes me I get boiled up too much when I watch that thing.
But you see, she literally took a mirror and held it up at somebody. So whoever needs to watch that film needs to search themselves and decide, where am I in the spectrum? Am I the boys? Am I the guys who frame the boys? Am I, you know? It's really dope. I love her work, and I love the work she chooses.
Yeah.
I wish South Africa was like that. I wish we could choose the work and not think I've got financial obligations alongside the work.
True.
Right? It would be so dope because I think it makes her who she is, the fact that she chooses the work she does.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'd still love to hear her process. This is just looking outside in. It feels like she chooses the work. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, you know? Because it's two different truths.
I hear you.
Yeah, we never know.
Oh, man. I just hope you come back to the show before you do that collab so we can speak on the collab when you're about to do the collab. You dig?
When? I love that. I love when you said,
No,
I love that you said
coming.
when.
No, it's
Cool.
coming. Everyone who
take
sits
it.
in that chair is such a bright star.
I'll take it.
Because you got it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate this. I appreciate this talk. You're an amazing filmmaker. Everything I've seen and just the research, I was blown away.
Oh, thank you so much.
Keep on being great.
I appreciate it.
And keep on inspiring. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. Man, it feels good.
For more amazing content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And please follow us on all our social media pages. Love.